people that think that something shouldn't be paid for are living in delusion. And they're kind of like, well, I know some guru living in India, he doesn't charge for anything, everything is free. Yeah, because he's got 40 millionaires that are funding him, or he has a congregation of 5,000 people that are putting money in the coffers. The same way that the church has a donation box and people walk into church, drop money in the donation box. How does the church pay for electricity? Government doesn't give the church free electricity, right? Pay for water. The priest goes to the bathroom and flushes after he pees. Somebody needs to pay for that water.
Right, and your guru had funding set up for yours.
Yeah,
right?
and yeah, exactly.
So people just need to kind of...
They need to understand that. They need to understand, I think here's the biggest misunderstanding. They feel that spirituality and money don't mix. That if you're spiritual, you shouldn't make money. That money is evil and money is bad. And being spiritual means you don't care about money. Being spiritual means you should live in poverty, in simplicity. That you can't have nice things, you can't surround yourself with nice things. And I used to have that mindset before I went to the monastery. It's Guru Deva that changed my mindset. Because he surrounded himself with the best things. And he was having an interview with a reporter who wasn't very nice and respectful. And she asked him, because whenever he traveled, he stayed in 5-star hotels. And this reporter goes, you're a monk, you're a renunciate, Hindu monk. So when you travel, why do you stay in 5-star hotels? Gurudeva looked at her and said, well, because there are no 6-star hotels. What he meant by that is that, why are you staying in a 5-star hotel? Because there's nothing better. If those are 6-star, go stay in it. But the understanding here also, Brian, a few things I learned in this area from him. One is that if you strive for the best on the outside, you're going to strive for the best on the inside. If you compromise on the outside, you're going to compromise on the inside. As you're working towards self-realization, you're going to get along the way and you're like, this is good enough. I felt a sense of peace, a centeredness, feeling of calm. This is really good. I'm very satisfied with that. It's good enough. No, it's not good enough. Right? And you start compromising on the outside, you're going to start compromising on the inside. And the other big thing I learned from him is that money is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with money, and doesn't mean you're spiritual, that you can't have money. One of my goals in life is to make as much money as possible. Really, it truly is one of my goals in life, is to make as much money as possible. Why? Because with money, I can impact humanity and I can impact the environment. One of my mentors, my entrepreneurial mentors, his name is Steve Hall, somebody I really love and admire. He said to me, a beautiful phrase, profit is for the purpose of impact. Profit is for the purpose of impact. I cannot create impact if I don't have the money, right? Because if I want to build an online course about concentration, I want to build an app that can help people create rituals in their day to be better at concentration, where the content's in English and I want to get it translated in different languages, make it available for free for underprivileged people. I need to pay servers, I need to pay technical people, I need to pay the guy that's filming, like the guys that are filming this. You pay them, right? Or are they doing charity? You pay them, right?
Yes.
And they want to be paid well, right? And I have to pay all these things. That requires money. How can I impact humanity, the environment, the world, if I don't have money? Right? If I can make as much money as possible, I can take that and I can impact. Profit is for the purpose of impact. And my goal is to impact humanity and to impact the environment. And for that, I need money. Right? The right use of money is not a bad thing. If profit is used to make a difference, to serve selflessly, it's a beautiful thing. And that said, and if profit is also used for your own personal enjoyment, that's also not bad. If you want to stay in a nice hotel or go out for a nice meal with your family or go on a wonderful holiday, that's not a bad thing. But if you feel like you need to have 500 Ferraris, consider having 2 and then using the rest of the money to make a difference.
Why do people think money's evil and think that spirituality and money cannot work together?
I have no idea. I don't know where that notion came from. So many people have just such confused understanding about spirituality and the spiritual path. They also think material things are bad. You know, that if you're spiritual, you shouldn't have material possessions. The reason monks, at least in our tradition, don't have material possessions, I wouldn't say we don't have, we have a few material possessions. We obviously had a Mac, iPhone. And the reason is that material things can consume energy. You know, quite often people in India have a problem with me making money through this. The Western, I think, people are kind of used to it. You know, like everybody's selling something in America, so people are used to it. But like people in India can watch and go like, oh, why is he charging for this? Why is he charging for that? I remember one guy wrote from India and said, you know, I wanted to buy your course, but it was too expensive, right? And you know, you're charging a lot of money from it. You know, why are you charging money? It's too expensive for me. Sign, let's say his name was Raj or something. I don't remember. Sign Raj. Sent from my iPhone 8 Plus. Like, wait a minute. You have money for an iPhone 8 Plus, but you can't buy my $200 course. That shows you priority, right? If you really believe that this thing can change your life and impact you, then spend money and do it. And if you can't afford it, go work and earn the money. My guru said to me, you know, when we first met and I told him what I wanted, you know, I said, I want self-realization. One of the first things I said to my guru, if not the first thing, I said, I want self-realization. Can you help me? He said, yes. But he says, I don't hand out anything. You have to work for it. I said, I will work for it. He asked me, what are you willing to do for it? And I said, I'll give you my life. Right? And I did. I was still in university. I said, I'm ready to come right now and give up university, everything to come do this. And then he made me wait a couple of years. And then I had to get from Perth to Hawaii. And I said, okay, you know, I don't have the money and I'm gonna go work and get the money. He says, yeah, go work, earn the money. So I worked, money I earned, paid school fees. I had enough money to fly myself, you know, all the way from Western Australia, which is the boonies, you know, all the way to Hawaii. But I went and earned the money. So if you don't have the money to sign up for London Royal Academy or Dandapani's online course, go and work and earn the money. You know, there's no job, find a job. Clean something. Tell somebody you'll clean their yard, do whatever it takes. And that's the thing, you know, going back to the early conversation, having that desire. When you want something really badly, you will go and do whatever it takes to do it. If I had to lick the floor of the airport to earn money to go see my guru, I would have licked every corner of the airport floor. You know, one of the comments I always get in messages is like, you know, you're charging, you know, so much for your course. What did your guru charge you for, to teach you? And you're like, yeah, true, he didn't charge me anything actually. He didn't ask for $1 from me, not a cent, but he did ask for my life. So yeah, you're right, I didn't pay him any money. I just gave him my life. I didn't talk to my family, my friends, my relatives. I gave up all the food I love eating, all the drinks I love to drink. I love going to the beach, I gave that up. I gave up watching movies, listening to my favorite music, eating chocolate. I gave up having a relationship, having a family. Everything you could possibly imagine and everything you have in your life at the convenience of, at your fingertips. I gave up for this, so you're right, I did not pay a cent. And you complaining to me about a few dollars. And like you said, it's an excuse. You know, and it shows people's commitment level. You know, and people are so easy to say, oh, I don't have it. Go get it. I have a friend in India, you know, he must be in his 60s now, late 60s. Really amazing guy, entrepreneur, has a very successful company building furniture. I love this man. I love his story, you know. And he grew up really poor. He sold painting on the sidewalks in Delhi. And then he found his way to Nepal. He started a little business with a partner and had a little store. The partner cheated him, left him with nothing. And he ended up coming back to India, working on the streets. And then he just worked hard and worked and worked and worked. And now he has an amazing business with, 600-700 employees. And even at his age, he still works every day super hard. So, here's an example of someone who had absolutely nothing and then built his way to something. The Oberoi hotels in India, beautiful 5-star hotels. Mr. Oberoi, the founder, the story goes something like that, not accurately, grew up in a really poor village, and the village had like some famine or disease. His mother gave him like a few rupees and said, you gotta leave before you get this disease and die. And I believe the story goes like this, and I could be wrong, but, and he left, traveled around, worked in a hotel, became really good at accounting, got promoted to a clerk, got promoted to the front desk, finally saved up some money, bought the little hotel. And years later now you have one of the most beautiful hotels in India. So it's not like if you don't have anything, you can't get somewhere. That you have to live in this mindset that I'm poor and I don't have a chance and I don't have an opportunity. How many people have you met that started with nothing, And no matter where you're born, whether it's in some poor town in America or a village in India or China or somewhere in Africa, everybody has a chance. It really comes down to your desire. And how badly do you want it? We lived in a traditional monastery, and because my guru was very traditional and cultural, the monks only listened to Hindu music, so chanting or Hindu devotional songs. We didn't listen to any Western music, blues or jazz or anything. But he had a CD, and it was a Frank Sinatra CD. And his favorite song in there was I Do It My Way. And I love that about my guru, because he was so not what everybody thought a monk would be. He adopted technology when technology came out. Obviously, been running a monastery for 50-something years before computers, personal computer. When the first Mac came out, he bought it. He bought the best one, adopted it. The monks learned Photoshop and InDesign and Final Cut Pro. We edited movies in Premiere and After Effects, and we learned JavaScript and HTML, CSS. We did podcasts, blogged before any of those things were even popular. And he did it his way.